Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 4, Episode 1 of Result Report. We've got a lot to get to today. This is going to be a talk about the playoff picture and everything that just happened in Week 18, a wild sequence. I'm Isaac Woodall, and let's get into it. So first, in Week 18, it's normally what happens is a lot of teams like to rest their starters and just make sure that they don't get injured in the playoffs, or maybe if you're not doing as well, just tank for the number one pick or just see how good one of your new young rookies is. So the games that did matter were the ones that people actually played their talented stars. And the first one on Saturday, we had a big NFC South game where the Buccaneers took down the Panthers, but they needed Atlanta to lose to the Saints, and that did not happen, so Carolina took the NFC South. But one game that was decided by that game only was the Seahawks and 49ers game, which was expected to be a shootout. But no, instead it was a defensive battle where the Seahawks took it 13-3. The 49ers just could not get Christian McCaffrey going, so Seattle won the NFC West and the NFC number one seed. But yes, so the Ravens and Steelers was game 272 of the season. And if you check out our YouTube shorts after this video, you'll see it. This game was pretty insane. Like normally with these games, we get a low scoring battle, and that is what it looked like again, except in the fourth quarter, both offenses really showed up. Aaron Rodgers and Lamar Jackson put on a show. Tyler Loop missed the game-winning field goal. Justin Tucker probably would have made it. But now Pittsburgh wins the AFC North, and they are definitely not as explosive in the playoffs in terms of how dangerous they would be, but they got the playoff spot. They have a defense that's good enough to win the Super Bowl, but is the offense? Probably not. And they're never clicking at the same time, it feels like. So Pittsburgh wins the AFC North, Baltimore's eliminated, and now we are going to get to our picks for Super Wild Card Weekend. And on Saturday, we have a regular season rematch between the 5-seeded 12-5 Rams taking on the 4-seed 8-9 Carolina Panthers, who are in the playoffs for the first time in a while. I don't know how long it is, but I know it has been a long time. It will be at 4:30 on Saturday on Fox if you want to watch it. The Rams are favored by 10. Carolina won in Week 13, 31-28, because the Rams just had a ton of turnovers. And the keys to this game should be Davante Adams will be back for the Rams. He did play in this game, but they just made so many mistakes. That'll be big for them, as like they probably would have beat the Seahawks if they had Davante Adams, or the Falcons too. And they should just make sure they can close out Carolina early and make sure that they can just make it clear they're going to win and not let Carolina have a chance to do anything to them. For Carolina, though, they need to get Rico Dowdle established into this game. They could not do that against Tampa Bay, and they were really shut down offensively against Tampa Bay. Both touchdowns were off of turnovers, off an interception and a missed field goal. They could not start their offense, and that was a key issue for them in a 16-14 loss. And then on defense, they need to force turnovers. The last two games that Matthew Stafford, the games he lost, the Seahawks one was because the defense was just bad. And the Falcons one, he threw multiple interceptions, and he did that as well against Carolina, and that was why they lost both times. It may have been by a field goal because they were able to come back, but they still lost because of Matthew Stafford's turnovers. Then the next game is a rematch of teams that played twice because they were in the same division. We've got the 7-seeded 9-7-1 Packers taking on the 2-seeded 11-6 Bears at 8 o'clock on Saturday on Amazon if you have it. So Chicago's favored by 1.5, but this could really go either way. The Bears won one of them, and the Packers won one of them in the regular season. Both of them, the Bears had to come from behind, and one of them they were successful, one of them they were not. Green Bay won 28-21 in Week 14, and in overtime in Week 16, the Bears won 22-16. Keys for this game. For the Packers, win the line of scrimmage. Both times they played, the Bears couldn't really run, and that was really challenging for them. And the success they did have was on the ground, especially in the second time when they had to go with Malik Willis and Jordan Love was injured. And also, the Packers, they need to score touchdowns in the red zone. They struggled to do that against Chicago, and they had a late drive where they could have really closed the Bears out, made it 20-6, I think it could have been, instead of 16-6, and that ended up really costing them. They only got 3 points, and it wasn't enough for them to win, so they need to capitalize in the red zone. They had a couple drives in that game where they just could not score in the red zone. And for the Bears, they need to get their offense going early. Like, they were shut out through 3 quarters against the Lions. Almost came back and won, but sometimes it's too late for a comeback, and the offense for the other team is going to be able to win. So they've got to do that, and they've also got to improve the run. Like, if you can't run, you are a one-dimensional team that is very easy to beat. So for this game, I'm going to go with the Packers to win just because of, I think if Malik Willis didn't have to play in the second game, then the Packers would have won and would have won the division. So this is a very big problem. Like, this is an upset that we could legitimately see. The Packers seem to be getting better every year, but they're still stuck at a 7 seed. Maybe in the future they can get a higher seeding, but we will see. And for the Rams-Panthers game, definitely the Rams are going to win that game. Then for the AFC, we've got the 6-seeded Bills at 12-5, taking on the 3-seeded Jaguars at 13-4 on an 8-game winning streak, which is second longest in the NFL, only behind their division foe, the Houston Texans, on a 9-game winning streak. So we are going to start it with, it's at 1 p.m. on CBS, and the keys for this game, Buffalo's favored by 1, which they do get a lot of media attention, and they're one of the more loved teams by the media in the NFL. For Buffalo, they just need to make sure that Jacksonville can't run. If they can stop that, then they have a chance to be able to predict a pass and get an interception and force them into 3rd and longs. Like, if you can't run, you can't get into short, like you can't get into 3rd and 3 instead of 3rd and 9. It's so much harder when you're always in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7 against a good defense. And I'm not saying the Bills are. Sometimes they are, sometimes not. It's just inconsistent. Jacksonville, don't let Josh Allen extend the plays. Like, something that they can do when they're getting rushed is just have Josh Allen go outside the pocket and make a good throw on the run for a good gain. For the next game, the 6-seeded 49ers at 12-5, taking on the 3-seeded Eagles at 11-6. It is on Sunday at 4:30 on Fox. The Eagles are favored by 4.5. These teams have not faced off since, I think, 2023. It was a blowout win for San Francisco. Keys for this game, San Francisco needs to let McCaffrey dominate. He could not get anything against Seattle, and they couldn't really find any points in that game. So that was why that happened, and the Eagles on defense are really good. But for them, they need to get their offense into a rhythm and avoid 3-and-outs. That just completely takes them out of the rhythm. And the games that they have lost and struggled in have been because they have not been able to get the offense going at all. The next game, the Sunday night game, the 7-seed Chargers in the AFC at 11-6, taking on the 2-seed Patriots at 14-3. It will be on Sunday, 8 p.m., NBC. New England is only favored by 3.5 as the 2-seed. They do not have as much experience as the Chargers do, but the Chargers have not won a playoff game with Justin Herbert yet. Keys for this game. LA needs to take advantage of the opportunities. They couldn't really do that against Houston. They had so many chances in the red zone or whatever, like close, like at the 25-yard line, missed a field goal. They missed an extra point, I believe. And they threw a pick in the red zone, threw a couple picks. And just, if they would not have made those mistakes, they likely would have found themselves here. Maybe they wouldn't have rested their players last week, and if they won that game, they would have had a chance to win the AFC West, and they could be getting a bye right now. Who knows? And for New England, they need to force turnovers and be prepared for Herbert to be able to make plays and just stop that, sack him. For the Monday night game, we have the 5-seeded Texans at 12-5, riding a 9-game winning streak, taking on the 4-seeded Steelers at 10-7, who just won their first divisional title since 2020. Houston is favored by 3 right now on the road. It'll be on Monday Night Football. And the keys for this game, Houston just needs to get points and force the crowd out of it. They need to just start hot. And they haven't won a road playoff game yet with CJ Stroud. So we're going to see if that tests them so far. And for the Steelers, they need to give Aaron Rodgers time. And when he's rushed, he does not play well. If these things go right for them, they will be able to win. Now we need to talk about the coach firings, which have happened. And even one coach that was really on the hot seat that has been kept for the New York Jets. It was very expected that Aaron Glenn would be fired, but they gave him some grace because it's the Jets. What do you know? But there have been some coaches that were fired. Atlanta fired Raheem Morris after a 16-18 record in 2 seasons. They were 8-9, had a 3-way tie with the Buccaneers and Panthers, and just could not get it done. If they would have simply beat the Jets, they'd be in the playoffs right now, and with a rematch against the team they beat in the Rams. Arizona has fired Jonathan Gannon after 3 seasons in a 15-36 record. It seemed last year like they were making a bunch of improvement. Kyler Murray was injured basically the entire season, but they just could not get anything going. A more shocking firing, well, maybe not, but Kevin Stefanski for Cleveland after a 45-56 record in 6 seasons, won a playoff game for them, which was for the first time in quite a long time. But they are done with him after a 3-14 and now a 5-12 season. And the last one, Las Vegas has fired Pete Carroll after a 3-14 season in his first year in Las Vegas. Maybe it did not turn out right this season, and we're going to see if they can find a better coach and a better quarterback. But thank you so much for watching Season 4, Episode 1 of Result Report. I am Isaac Woodall, and we will see you with the NFL Divisional next week.